Welcome to the Real Estate Niche Show, a show that focuses on top real estate professionals who specialize in different niches of real estate. My name is Ben Kogut. Join me as we dive deep into the professional and personal lives of the experts of the real estate industry. Welcome to the Real Estate Niche Show. I'm your host, Ben Kogut. Today, we have a very special guest. Dan Lewkowicz is here. Dan is a seasoned real estate investor with over 15 years of experience in many facets of the real estate business. He is currently the head of the Lewkowicz Group of Encore Real Estate Investment Services. Dan was senior advisor at Fortis Net Lease, specializing in commercial real estate investment sales. Dan is also a former business development executive for Amazon. Currently, though, Dan is the director of the investment sales at Encore Real Estate Services, specializing in shopping centers, medical office buildings, and industrial fulfillment centers, quick service restaurants, automotive repair, and parts stores. I also happen to know that he's selling some magnificent hotels right now. He's also an expert in multifamily and the current economic undercurrents facing this asset class in today's post-COVID world. Dan often expresses the incredible opportunities for investors of all sizes. Dan has 4 lovely children and resides with his beautiful wife, Brady, in Birmingham, Michigan. Enjoys exotic cars, namely, I know that he has a little collection of Dodge Vipers. Fine dining, yoga, playing acoustic guitar, and traveling. If that's not enough, Dan, thank you for joining me on the Real Estate Niche Show. Welcome.
Hey, Ben, it's such a pleasure. I really enjoyed seeing you a couple of weeks ago in Austin, and then obviously in Las Vegas as well. And it's super cool to be here on the other side of the camera to be on your show. So happy to do this.
Thanks so much. It's an honor. Thanks for having me on your show, Dan on Top. That was a really wonderful experience. But now we're going to talk about you. And so, is there anything that I missed in your lengthy bio that you want to share as well?
Yeah, definitely that I am a major Ben Kogut fanboy and that I love everything you're doing. So that should be like number 1 on there.
Thanks, brother. Well, tell us, what is since this is a real estate niche show, how would you describe, what is your niche and how did you get into it?
Ooh, I would say my niche is definitely brokerage, business building, and then development, value add development. I would say my niche is adding value, because in each of those aspects, that's really what I focus on. I really love to take a look at a situation. It could be a property like this one. It could be a business. It could be an individual. It could be an opportunity where there's something that isn't working. And I can come in and create a solution to a problem, add value, and then make something a win-win for everyone. So that's really what I would say, my niche is. I think the way that I got into that was really back in 2005 when I started a company called Disability Made Easy with some close friends. It was a barrier-free home modification company. And we would take properties that were functionally obsolete or that had been designed for people that, were able to walk around and move around and all that. And, they faced terminal illness or injury or some type of disability. We would go in there and add value. We'd repurpose the property, repurpose a shower, a bathroom, a staircase, something like that, so that we could make it handicap accessible. And I think through that experience, I was able to really understand that while something might exist in its current form, with some tweaks and changes, maybe some repurposing, can really be put together, in a whole new sense that can add more value to everyone involved.
Wonderful. Yeah, adding value is definitely a key to our business that I've learned throughout the years. Can you give an example about how you add value with your brokerage business today?
Yeah, absolutely. So a great example. I'm not going to give up too much descriptive information just to protect the anonymity of my clients where they have desired. I had a very recent situation in the last 90 days where I had a very large asset I was working on, collection of assets actually, and the seller came to me thinking that they were worth $30 million. And I said, listen, I appreciate that. You've been in the industry a long time. You're in the trenches. Let me and my team do some market analysis. Let's get out there with some drones, do some site visits, study the demographics, run some market comps, really put frankly, put the few times that we ever do it, put a pencil onto paper and see how things pencil out, which is something I know you do every day. And it turned out that the value that we proposed was actually in the high $40 million range. And we brought the assets to market and got buyers that were willing to pay what we believe the market value was. So, I mean, talk about value. You're looking at $10, $15 million of value the Lewkowicz Group added to that client.
That's truly incredible. That's easy to quantify and really, really, really impressive. Can you talk a little bit? I know that you're really involved in putting yourself out there. How has that? So I know that you have Dan on top. We're going to talk about that in a second. LinkedIn and the CRE Pro Course, which are definitely things that we should have talked about in your bio. But let's take it one at a time. Let's talk about LinkedIn, because that's actually initially how you and I connected. What has been the impact? I know, it's incredible. You have I think over 13,000 followers on LinkedIn, which I'm impressed by. What's been the impact, and how did you get to that many followers?
It's funny because I had actually a developer over at my home here just about 20 minutes ago, and we were having the same conversation because he asked a similar question. So really the genius of LinkedIn for me was over I think a decade ago when I got on there, and I just kind of put some information about myself. And, I was actually at the time the development director for Yeshiva Beth Yehuda, which is a large Jewish day school. And actually the Lewkowicz Group this past Sunday, we sponsored the dinner, that same dinner that I put on 10 years ago, almost to the day. So I remember reading a book about connections and interconnectedness of individuals. And I just recognized that LinkedIn was a great professional social network. And I remembered that one of the ways I got into development and fundraising from a nonprofit perspective was that I would reach out to a contact that I knew very well, and I would have them write a letter introducing me to their social circle. And then I would reach out and say, hey, my name's Dan, Ben Kogut introduced us, just wanted to get to know you. So that was a great, way to meet with one person, write 30 letters and get 30 introductions, and that might lead to 1 or 2 donations or sponsorships. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking it to the next level. And I went on LinkedIn. I said, well, who does this guy know, right? This guy's name is Mitch. Just ran into Mitch yesterday. So this guy's name is Mitch. So I look on LinkedIn. Well, it turns out that there's in my connections and his connections, we've got 300 second degree connections, right? Where Mitch knows them and I know Mitch. So I'm now able to reach out to those people and say, hey, I know you know Mitch. My name's Dan. I'm a development director, right? So the same thing is true in real estate, by the way, just as a tangential, segue. So what happened there, Ben, is that I was using LinkedIn in a very elementary, basic form about a decade ago, and I really enjoyed it. Now, fast forward 7 or 8 years, now I'm, big time in commercial real estate. And I recognized I had this epiphany because I've got a great friend. His name's Yonah Weiss. We actually lived together 16 years ago, I should say, in Israel. And Yonah and I kept in touch, and we were always in touch with each other. He was in finance at one point doing private money, and I was flipping houses, a lot of houses in and around Detroit. And, we would chat, and I'd see how things were doing. He stayed in Israel. I came back to, the home country here of the United States. And Yonah was just constantly telling me about the beauty of LinkedIn. I always asked him, how are you lead genning besides reaching out to the people that you were in yeshiva with? He said, oh, it's LinkedIn. And I was getting more and more curious about it. So I'll never forget, one day I was at my brokerage, and I think I didn't want to cold call. So I decided I'd kill some time. I went on LinkedIn, and I couldn't believe it. All the people I was cold calling, I'd throw some names out there, but the Lee Cherneys of the world, the Barry Wolfs of the world, they're all on LinkedIn interacting with each other, just like, my friends are interacting with each other on Facebook. And I said, if this is the place where the people that don't answer the phone are going to play into work, that's where I need to be. So maybe about 2.5 years ago, I made a commitment. I said, I'm going to post every single day on LinkedIn. I'm going to make some good content, and I'm going to add value. And I actually created a whole system, Ben, that we teach about in the CRE Pro course. And that system is designed to leverage LinkedIn as a commercial real estate investor or broker in the right way. So one of the things that we teach in the course is not only to put out great content every day, but it's to engage with other people. So you might think that I'm commenting and liking your content because I like you, and it's definitely true. But I'm also doing that because that actually helps me, right? Through helping you, through pushing your content out there, through engaging with you, now I show up in more people's feeds. So really what I did, Ben, was I just committed to 1 post a day, every single day. And I did that for about 18 months straight. And that just, it changed the game, man. I mean, I'll give you a quick little example. I was at the Grand Hotel, which you and I were at only a few months ago, right? For our wedding, not our wedding, but my wedding to my wife.
Thank you for the invite to your beautiful wedding. It was incredible. Mackinac Island.
Yes,
Never been there before.
Oh, it was awesome. So I was there about 6 months prior, Ben, and Brady and I were up at one of the bars in the Grand Hotel, and there was a couple sitting next to us, actually maybe a couple tables away. And, they were having a good time. We were having a good time. The guy looks over at me, looks me dead in the eyes. And he goes, "Are you Dan Lewkowicz from LinkedIn?" And
wow.
I kind of laughed and I said, I'm Dan Lewkowicz. And he came over, he shook my hand. He said, "I've been watching your shows. I've been following you on LinkedIn. And I just want to introduce myself." So it came full circle, right? This guy knew me in social media and then introduced himself to me in real life. Now it gets even better because we exchanged contact information. And about 3 or 4 months later, he looked me up and he took me out to dinner here in Birmingham. Went out to dinner. He had started his own brokerage. We had a great time. He told me he wanted to work together a little bit more. And then 3 days later, he reached out and he said, "Hey," sent an email introduction between him and one of his big clients. He said, "Dan Lewkowicz is an expert in resort listings. I had just listed the Traverse City resorts. Here's my client, John. John owns a resort in Michigan. I don't do resorts." That's what this other guy is saying, but Dan does. "I'd love to make an introduction. Next week, I'm listing a $24 million resort." From that interaction that all started on LinkedIn.
Unbelievable. Well, there's a lot to unpack there that I want to keep going. I want to shout out to Yona Weiss as well, because he had put out a CRE challenge to post every day for 10 days straight. And that had a huge impact on me. You've taken it really to the next level. I didn't realize, I know you're active on LinkedIn. I didn't know that your goal was to post something every day. And you've really inspired me. So I'm going to give that a shot myself, because
great.
I've learned that the more I put myself out there, AKA creating this real estate niche show, the more positive feedback I've been able to get. So you've inspired me a lot in a lot of that way, Dan.
It's mutual, man. I can't tell you. I mean, we know each other from Next Level Mastermind, and we've gotten to know each other here in Detroit, in Austin, in Vegas. We have our weekly accountability call, and I'm so happy because you're a great guy and you're doing great things. And really, without social media, we never would have even met.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So then let's transition into another thing you mentioned, which is the CRE Pro Course. Can you tell us how did that start? And what is it, and whatever else you want to add?
Sure. So really, I would say the genius of the CRE Pro Course was probably also about a decade ago. I became very active in residential real estate investing, and I would go every month to the different real estate investor association meetings, in and around the Metro Detroit area. And I remember, I'd go to these meetings and there'd be like a guru that would show up and talk for an hour, and they'd have a lot of gems of wisdom, and I would love it. And then at the end, there'd be a fast-paced pitch to sign up to go to Florida on their boat and learn from them. And then, if you went to that trip, then there'd be another one. You'd be on an airplane in, Timbuktu or something. And I always was fascinated by the number of people that were interested in this. But even more so, I was fascinated in the fact that these people were traveling around the world, giving out valuable free content, and then building a business, training people. So I had started about 4 years ago a roundtable of real estate investor experts all across the world. And I was, in the mix as a commercial real estate expert. I had another friend, residential, I had some lenders, had some investors. And we really tried to put together a conglomerate, literally like a roundtable of people, so that we could have a real live event that was completely focused on adding value, not on selling anything. So I put this together, really had a good time with it. And I kind of just had that, as something that was going on the side. It was really primarily based on Facebook. And I had always wanted to get more into training because I love to teach. And I think there's a lot of value to add, and a lot of people can frankly improve their lives, make more money, have better relationships when they have the right systems and structures. So fast forward another couple of years, I'm in Next Level Mastermind with you and a good mutual friend of ours, also from Austin, named Zach Rasinger. So I'm telling Zach about my experience, doing the other, training thing that I've been working on for years. And he told me about his background, and we really connected right away. We're both like lightning bolts, right? Which means we can do a lot together, but we can also, fight a lot. So we try to stay in each other's lane and out of each other's lanes. So I remember, I'll never forget this. I told him, I wish my wife was down here. She's upstairs. I said, I had a conversation with my wife yesterday. She was my fiance at the time. I said, I've had a conversation with my fiance, And she mentioned, Dan, you spend so much time on LinkedIn. I said, yeah, I do. I love it. And she said, but how are you going to monetize it? She's always thinking like a financial lady. She's amazing. And I said, that's a really good question. I didn't answer her. But the next day I'm on the phone with Zach. I never told you this story. And I said, my wife was talking to me about LinkedIn and she asked, Dan, how are you going to monetize it? And Zach goes, Dan, here's the answer. You want to build a course. I want to build a course. Tell me about your experience in your current situation and why you think it's so important to build a course. I said, well, Zach, I'm getting calls 3 to 4 times a week from people all over the world that are reaching out to me saying, Dan, I want to get into commercial real estate investing or brokerage. Can you give me half an hour of your time, 45 minutes of your time? And I was doing it. I loved doing it. I still keep in touch with these people, and many of them are doing very well. I said, the problem is that I can't scale that because it's just like one-on-one and I don't have more time than 3-4 hours a week. So he said, okay, this is great. Let's put a course together. And I had never met Zach before. People don't know this. We spent 4 months, like day and night, building the content for this course. I had already had my show. We lined things up with our producers, with the studio. Zach flew in, stayed at my house. And in maybe 3 or 4 days, we spent 8 hours a day at the studio. And we knocked out this insane course that has literally changed the trajectory of not only my life and Zach's life, but of probably hundreds of students at this point.
That's incredible. I mean, you guys have done a fantastic job with the CRE Pro Course. Anybody that's out there listening, how would people find out more about it? There's that lovely cup.
Yeah, you have one of these. I know that. So just go to our website, creprocourse.com. That's creprocourse.com. All the information is there. You can sign right up right away. We also have higher level mentorship programs. And we actually have a mastermind that's starting in just a couple of days. I think we have 1 spot left. And that's a mastermind that's designed to do deals, stuff that you love, right? Syndicating deals, building deals, underwriting deals, analyzing deals. There's an actual mastermind of 10 people that are going through together doing this. So go to creprocourse.com. You can always reach out to me or Zach. I'm Dan at creprocourse.com. Zach is Zach, Z-A-C-H, at creprocourse.com. And you can also reach out to our students, reach out to the people who have been through the program. And whatever we can do to add value, that's what we're here to do.
Love it. Love it. Let's pivot to your show, Dan on Top. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get that started? How many episodes have you shot? And what's been the impact of having your own show? Because I'm new to creating the Real Estate Niche Show, podcasting. This is all a new world for me. But yeah, go ahead and answer those, and then I have some more follow-up questions.
So I'll answer you in reverse order. We've got about 145 episodes. We typically run about 6 episodes in the hopper. So, we might have released 139 and we got 145, something like that. I've created a really cool system that helps me to knock out 3 a week. So I record 3 every Thursday. I release 3, on a set schedule on Roku, on Amazon, on Apple TV, on danontop.com, and then through NRM Streamcast and all the other channels. Now, this is not just a podcast. It's not just audio, kind of like what you're doing. It's a video streamcast. So we literally interview people face-to-face or remotely from all over the world. Now, the genius of this was pretty cool. I got on this kick about 2 years ago where I said, you know what? I need to get in front of more people. The LinkedIn thing was working, but I wanted to network with more people, get to know more people. And at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a big push for a lot of people to do their own podcast. So I said, I could have my own show, or I could go out there and just get on everybody else's. I thought to myself, I said, Michael Jordan doesn't have a show, right? Michael Jordan is on shows. So I want to be Mike, right? Let me be on everybody's show. So I made it a commitment to be on anywhere from 5 to 7 shows per week. Okay.
Wow.
So I started just going out there. That was like do or die, 5 to 7 shows every single week. I did that for like 6 or 9 months. It was really great. I'll never forget this. There was a show that was live in Detroit, Michigan. You've actually been to the studio. It's actually my studio now. So I have an old friend who's a development director at a Jewish school. He's a rabbi, Rabbi Tzvi Jacobson. God bless him, amazing guy. He's doing exactly what I was doing at a different school. I was doing it maybe 10 years ago. And he's using digital media to help his school and to help his fundraising. So he had a show where he interviews all different types of people, and he'd been inviting me on for like a year, and I kept coming up with excuses. So finally one day I said, you know what, I'll go. So I go there. I think we're going to meet in some rinky-dink office. Little do I know, I walk into like a legitimate radio studio, and I sit down, and we got the cans on and the microphones, and there's the sound team and the soundboards and all that stuff. And I just had an absolute blast with him. In fact, we did 2 shows back to back. all about real estate, about my bubby, about my family moving, to America. And on the way out, this was after hours, I'll never forget this. This lovely young man by the name of Paul Bensman waddles in, and he says, I came back to the studio. I was done for the day, but something told me I had to come back. Wanted to shake your hand. He shakes my hand. I'm Paul Bensman. I'm Dan Lewkowicz. He says, come in my office. I heard you on the air over there. You're a natural. Sit in his office. This guy and I just immediately, boom. I mean, we talk every single day. I had breakfast with him yesterday. We're doing all kinds of deals together. What I loved about Paul is he sat down. He says, Dan, you need a show. But Dan, you've got a mission, man. You can help people. You're a great broker. I know about you. I literally, Ben, I left that studio that night with a listing. He's a broker himself. He gave me a listing. He added value to me. And at that point, I came in the next week. I said, whatever you're doing here, I need to be part of. And I actually ended up starting my own show there through New Radio Media. And it has been absolutely game changing. I mean, I get so much business and inquiries and relationships from my show that I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without Dan on top.
Let's elaborate a little bit more on that, because I believe you that it has had a major impact on you. And the question I have is, what do you think I should expect as I'm trying to grow the real estate niche show? Like, any advice you have for me?
Yes, no doubt. And this is something that actually someone else that we know gave me this advice, 9 months ago at Next Level Mastermind. So you remember, what was his name? MC Lauer, is that his name?
Yeah, Lupsher.
Lupsher, sorry, the cash flow ninja. So he mentioned that most people who have a podcast or a streamcast actually quit before they have 50 episodes. And believe me, the struggle is real. I remember when I was at 30, 35, 40, 45 episodes, I was like, man, I'm investing this time, this money, this energy, taking away from my business. And like, am I really getting results? And I had actually people that are close to me were saying the same thing. Dan, you're investing this time, this money, this energy. Are you getting results? And the answer was no, I wasn't. But he told me, he says, once you hit 50 episodes, you'll see a change. And it was like literally the 50th episode, I saw a change, right? Somebody sent me an email from the show, never met him to this day. I've never spoken with him on the phone. He said, Dan, I watch your show. I love it. I'm a developer for Family Dollars. Here's a portfolio of 5 of them. Will you sell them for me? Wow. And I was like, holy goodness, like, I can't believe this. And that just like, it literally 50th episode, it like just put all this energy back into me. And I started cranking. I started another show. I started doing more. I started, investing more money in marketing. I started now going to a studio B instead of a studio A. So a bigger studio, a television studio. And really my advice to you, Ben, is to not stop. My advice is that you've got a system. You've got I love your logo so much. We'll talk about why I love it. But, your system is amazing. I actually, little known fact, I didn't tell you this, but I took your email that you sent out in preparation of this, and I sent it to my team. I said, study this and replicate it, because yours is better than mine. I hope that you're flattered and not offended. But basically,
no, it's
my point to you is
I
keep
think
going.
I borrowed it from somebody else as well. So
exactly,
it's better to copy genius than create mediocrity. So carry on.
No doubt about it. So go with that. Ask the questions you're asking. I mean, I'm here to help you. I probably have 140 episodes ahead of you, right? And that's only because I started this a few years ago. So my advice is to keep going and to not listen to the naysayers, because people are going to tell you, oh, you're just one of those guys doing a podcast. And you know what? Right now you are. But once you hit 50 episodes, you're going to be one of the few people that actually continues. And once you hit 100, you're going to be one of those guys that's like, oh, I know Ben Kogut, not because I ever met him in person, but isn't he the host of the Real Estate Niche Show? And when you hit 150 and 200, you're going to see that those phones, those leads are coming the other way. Instead of like, I don't cold call anymore, man. I don't go out and prospect. My phone rings. I have 2 phones, right? And I'm constantly fielding calls or giving them to my associates because I'm putting out valuable content. People like, know, and trust me before they ever meet me. And that is largely due, in fact, to LinkedIn and to Dan on top and NRM Streamcast. So my advice is keep going. And if there's anything I can do to help or to be a support to you, consider it done.
I appreciate that, and I'm inspired and excited. So yeah, I've had some really, really great interviews, and we're just getting started. So I am curious, like real quick, what is it that you think about that logo? Like, because
so I'm big into like Illuminati stuff, just being honest. So like, I love the eyes. Like you see my logos, they usually have eyes in them because it's hard not to look at an eye, right? I love that you have the play button in there. Okay, that's really cool. I also love the cash on the S. The dollar sign is really cool. Blues, I'm obviously a very big fan of blues. I love blues. They're very regal. They represent, I think, class. I also love the buildings. To me, the microphone is it's a little bit phallic, which is cool. It's also like it catches you, it hits you in the eyeballs. And then to me, it looks like it's the buildings, which obviously I love, right? But it also almost has that look of like somebody's like holding up like a victory fist, you know? Yeah, I love it. I think it's got a lot going on. And then, by the way, here's the funniest part. I had no idea it was you. I didn't even know I was on your show until a couple hours ago. I saw it in my schedule. I was like, oh, real estate niche show. This is cool. This is like, I didn't know who it was. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you sent me a text message. Oh, it's Ben Kogut. So I love the fact that you're branding yourself and you're having a real estate niche show with such great logos. And then, by the way, it's with Benjamin Kogut, CCIM MBA. This show is not the Ben Kogut show. This is a real estate niche show. I love it. I think it's awesome, man.
Oh, those are great words to hear. Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears a little bit. I like to kind of ask some of the same questions, and I think I prepped you a little bit for those. And so the first question is, what is the first or the worst job that you've ever had?
Oh. The first and worst job I ever had was 50 cents per job. My father would pay me to take the trash out every Tuesday night. That was the worst job because my dad's very particular. My dad definitely taught me work ethic. You know, my dad, I love him. He's amazing. It was the worst job I had because like all my friends were taking out the garbage or not. And, you know, they had allowances and they made money. And here I had 50 cents a day. I'm kind of joking about it, but that was definitely my first job. I would say the worst job I ever had was pretty much every job. Okay. Every job I had was the worst job because until I became an entrepreneur and I started my own business, I was always building somebody else's brand and I was always beholden to somebody else. And at the end of the day, whether I did a good job or a bad job, I could still get yelled at. I could still get manipulated. I could still get put down and belittled. Now I'm my own boss. Now, no matter what I'm doing, it's the best job of my life. So I would say that any job that is a job and not a business or a passion or something that keeps me up at night and gets me out of bed early in the morning is the worst job.
Love it. Love the entrepreneurial spirit that you have and that you're teaching to other people as well. So the next question is, how does Dan Lewkowicz invest in himself?
Through branding, through marketing, through relationships. I mean, look at Dan and Ben. I mean, I tell you, like I joke, but I feel like you're a long lost brother, man. I love you. You're a great guy. And I invest in you and in us. Like, I mean, we have
Likewise.
Typically, I mean, I know we've had a hard time because we've been traveling, but we typically for better part of a year have had an hour-long phone call every single week, aside from our friendly phone calls, but where we're going through and we're talking about our life. We're talking about what we committed to last week. We're talking about what we can do, how we can support each other. You know, everything you're doing, and not everything, a lot of things you're doing, a lot of things I'm doing are perfected because we're learning from each other. That's how I invest in myself. And then I invest in myself by, you know, look in my garage. I invest in myself because I've got a great vehicle, great business vehicle that as soon as I leave here, it dried up a little bit. I'm going to go and cruise. I'll be on the phone. I'll be working. I'll be doing things, but I'm investing in myself. You know, I go to the gun range. I eat nice food. I try to, you know, stay healthy and you know, not eat a lot of preservatives. And that's a great way for me to invest in myself. And then, you know, one way that I'm committing to investing more in myself is to invest in my relationship. You know, I've got a wonderful wife who is so incredible. And, you know, through investing in time together with us, it invests in me and in her. So, you know, I just think that it's the same thing that I tell people. I mean, I got a message here from 5 minutes before. There's somebody that I know and appreciate and respect very much who works for me. And she had mentioned that, you know, she's going to be getting me a project by the end of the week. She has some struggles going on and she needs to disconnect. And I mean, my response to her is the same thing I tell myself. Sounds good. Take care of number one. So that's how I invest in myself. I make sure to take care of number one. And, you know, I also, you know, do a lot of, you know, psychology work. I also go to, you know, a lot of conferences and conventions. And, you know, I've learned that sometimes saying no to other things and other people, it's really saying yes to myself.
Nice. Great quote right there. Saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. That's a great way to invest in yourself. Let's take that a little bit further. How does Dan Lewkowicz invest in the community or the world?
So the Lewkowicz Group sponsored the Yeshiva Beth Yehuda annual dinner on Sunday. That was an incredible event. We had some major dignitaries, ambassadors, you know, investors, banks. It was amazing. We also sponsored the Israel's first Olympic bobsled team, which God willing, they'll be in the Olympics coming up here in a few months. We invest in communities by doing things like, making sure to plan out what we're doing. Like if I'm building a development, let's say in Traverse City, I want something that's going to solve problems. So I want to build affordable housing. I want to, go to Austin with you, meet with an architect there that I like, who's doing things that aren't being done here, and bring it here, right? So I think that those are ways to invest in the community, invest in other people. And then quite frankly, the CRE Pro Course, the Lewkowicz Group, and all these other institutions and organizations that I'm involved in, we are committed to creating jobs, building people, building businesses, and influencing the world in a positive way. So I give back by investing in people. I give back by making sure that I'm on, and that when somebody needs something, they have what they need so that they can be their best self, and I can support them just like I've been supported by my inner circle.
Love it. And I can vouch. I see you doing all these investments, and I'm inspired and moved by what you're doing. Let's move on to the last question, which is, how does Dan Lewkowicz define success?
That is a really good question. So I would say success to me is a smile. It's simple. If I'm smiling, I'm successful. And you've got a great smile too, man. You smile a lot. And to me, a smile represents joy, and it represents authenticity. And if I'm smiling, that means I'm successful in that moment. Obviously, that's a generalization. I like to keep things simple. In terms of like global success, or what I'm looking to do when I define my life as successful from a, maybe a technical standpoint, it's the following. It's am I adding value? Am I contributing positively to things, right? So am I adding jobs? Am I adding students? Am I building businesses? Am I influencing the economy in a positive sense? If I believe that Bitcoin is a good investment, am I telling my friends, my family members, my wife, my parents that they should invest? Yeah. Am I in an abundance mindset, or am I in a scarcity mindset? If I'm in abundance, I'm successful, right? If I've got a deal and I'm hiding it from people, that's not success. If I've got a deal and I'm trying to tell everybody about it because I know that by being part of this deal in some way, shape, or form, investor, buyer, broker, ancillary, vendor, service, etc., if I'm telling people and I'm sharing that and I'm in abundance, that's success. Because success, Ben, is something that's so incredible, it never diminishes. If I have success and I share it with you, or if you have success and you share it with me, or we're a part of each other's success, the success gets greater. It's like, maybe I'll end with this. I have rabbinical ordination. I lived in Israel for 4 years, and the Talmud often talks about candles, and about light, and about ore, about fire, right? And how what's amazing about fire is you would think, like, if I have some water, right, and I give you some of my water, I have less water. But if I have like a candle, right, if I've got a light, maybe light is a bad example, but if I've got a light and I have that candle, right, and I hold it up and you've got a wick and I light yours, I don't diminish. I don't lose anything, right? We both gain, and now we have more warmth, more fire. We can start more energy, all that stuff. So, I look at success like that. It's something that's so incredible and so powerful that we must share it with others.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for bringing that wisdom and sharing that with others, what you're doing right here. And that's what I'm also trying to do as well. And so
you're not trying, man. You're doing it. You're taking your light and you're shining it out to the world. And I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate all your support and your accountability. We're going to wind it down because I like to try to keep it close to 30 minutes. How can people reach out to you?
So you can reach me at dan@thelukowitzgroup.com. I don't want to confuse people, but obviously go to my website, danontop.com. That's danontop.com. You can shoot an email, dan@danontop.com. What the heck? I'll give my phone number. It's 248-943-2838. Again, 248-943-2838. Call me, text me, whatever. Find me on LinkedIn, Dan Lewkowicz, LEWKOWICZ. I'm there many times a day. And then, if you want to get together in person, just give me a shout, give me a holler, let me know where you are. And if I'm, in the same time zone or nearby, we'll do our best to connect. So really, whatever makes people comfortable, however you want to reach out, I'll do my best to be available.
There you have it, everybody. Please feel free to reach out to Dan. Dan, one last question for you. I've been struggling to figure out how to wrap the show. Any advice on how to end a show?
Yeah, so I have a few closing questions that I ask. One of them is I ask people to give their top 3 pieces of advice. I think that's always a great question. And what you'll see, Ben, one of the best parts about having a show is that you're the host. And you're going to see motifs over and over again from highly successful individuals. Every time, I can almost guarantee you will learn as much as the audience. So, kudos to you for being in that learning chair. I also ask people, I like to flip the script, and I have people ask me a question at the end from time to time. And I'll ask people, I'll say, do you have any final, parting words of wisdom that you want to share with our audience? One of my favorite ones is I ask people, knowing everything that you know now after all of your success and experiences, what advice would you give to your younger self?
So, Dan, do you have any parting words of advice?
Yeah, I would say that in everything that you think, feel, act, and do, take it to the next level. Do not sell yourself short. If you have a dream, that dream is one person's. That's your dream. Take that dream and run with it. I'll never forget when I was in Israel for the first time in 2005, so 16 years ago. I was with an individual who had helped build the country, and he talked about all the young children whose dreams he worked with. And he mentioned to us, I was, 22 years old or something. He said, if you have a dream, don't let anyone shatter it. And he mentioned that many cases, parents are the ultimate shatterers of dreams. And we're not going to go in a negative direction, but what I'll say is that I'm an adult now. I have children, and I feel blessed to be in that capacity. But I'm a parent to myself. I have worked very hard, and I continue to work to reparent myself. And what I've noticed is that I have dreams, right? My dreams are in my garage. My dreams are right here. My dreams are on this video. And I do not let anyone shatter my dreams, because ultimately I am the creator of my own reality, right? So I would challenge everyone who's watching this to really think about what your dreams are, and then to make those dreams a reality.
Love that. Love that. We are the creators of our own realities. I've created the Real Estate Niche Show, HH Investments, all the capital raising that we're doing, our accountability partnership, our friendship, and many, many more fun times ahead. So on that note, Dan Lewkowicz, Lewkowicz Group, CRE Pro Course, Dan on top, and everything else in between. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you on the show, and more importantly, to have you as a dear friend. So thank you so much.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Ben. Thanks for doing this. I look forward to it.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks everybody for listening. Subscribe, hit the button, all that good stuff. I don't even know what to say, but we have some more great guests like Dan coming soon, and really appreciate everybody for supporting me. So on that note, we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Real Estate Niche Show. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me or the show, you can follow me on Instagram at Ben Kogut and at The Real Estate Niche Show. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.